higher.
Yeah. But it's definitely.
Well, good evening, everybody.
Yes.
Just want to let everybody know that this is being recorded. Since we have, everybody in this room may have already met everybody in this room, but just to be sure, we thought we would go around the table really quickly. It's probably the last time we do that. Oh, hi, honey. And we can also just go according to. Good. Could you possibly speak up a little bit? Why don't we start with Andrea?
I'm Andrea Sweet. I'm the representative from the select board to this. And I'm Catherine here, the school committee representative.
Hi, I'm Seema Pusarkar, and I'm a member of the DEI since its inception in 2020.
I'm Scott Parkinson, I'm a member also.
I'm Adana McKenzie, and I'm a member also.
Mary Claire and I'm an alternate member.
Kathy Creed, alternate member. Cynthia King, alternate member. Anjali Rajput, co-chair.
Joe Diamond, co-chair. Let me just ask folks on the screen. I'll just go in order of what I see. Wendy, please say hello.
Hi, Wendy. Regular member.
So I can copy you. Haley, regular member. Hello, everyone.
Joanne.
Joanne Durr, alternate member.
Very good. All right, I think that's it. Everybody who's on the screen, everybody's with us. Thank you. So we've been called to order. For tonight, we do have a volunteer for the minutes. Seema, you can do that. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we are looking for a volunteer at least for the next meeting, if not for a little more. Ideally, we're looking for giving us 3 meetings for sort of for a quarter. But for now, we're thrilled with Seema. Thank you. Anybody else think about it? We are looking for a volunteer for the next meeting. We will get to the approval of the minutes from the last meeting when we get to that, which is a little further on in the agenda. It's in your packet. It's done in the format that people are used to. They are just a word or two about that, those minutes. They're pretty succinct, let's put it that way. They're not, it's not like dictation. So I tried to capture what was talked about, but I did not go through sort of a he said, she said kind of approach. And I hope that's okay. So let us know if you think that it captured enough. The good thing is we do have these recorded, so people can see sort of the back and forth of the whole hour and a half. But
So I
my style.
I just wanted to point out, and I'm sure you'll see this later on, that there are some formatting issues. I think before you send me the file, maybe you want to just take care of that.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, absolutely. We'll absolutely clean them up. More, I just wanted to see if this style conform with what you're expecting, and you can let us know. Obviously, if there are any corrections, mistakes, but you can capture what people said are miscaptured.
So formatting cleanup, I can help with that. It's just that my capacity wasn't there to really do the minutes, but thank you so much, Joe.
Is this done on Word or on Google Docs?
It was in Word.
It was in Word. I don't use Word, so it's difficult.
Yeah, I can do Word. Yeah, I can do.
Right, so I guess my message is for those of us who are going to be doing minutes, try to capture what was said, but we don't need to get into the long sort of minute by minute. Great, thank you. We also wanted to take a second, and some of us in the room for the 705 item might be able to help us with this one too. But just a reminder about the open meeting law requirements and interference. Did you want to talk a little bit about that?
So based on what we have reviewed so far, open meeting law requires that there should not be a discussion through the emails, and therefore I and Joe urge that if you have a topic that requires a discussion, so for example, I and Joe have been sending some emails to the whole committee talking about looking at agenda, looking at meeting minutes, or maybe some points here and there, but we try to make sure that it's not calling for a discussion and the whole committee is not really copied on those emails or addressed. Therefore, so the ask is moving forward, if you have a pressing issue that you would like us to bring into the agenda, only send it to me and Joe. If you have any topic that you want to cover or you want to share your thoughts on, then just send it to me and Joe, and then we can incorporate that follow-up agenda, or then or probably we can just set up some time with you so that we can have a better discussion. And I think that's what we would like to call for moving forward. Anything else you want to add, Joe?
Just, that's why we say, don't reply to all, because it becomes a discussion which could sort of signal that
Yeah.
which was not this. Is that, sync up with?
The same can also go for text messages. If there's a group of you, we have a forum on them through a text message group. So that you don't want your private phones being, you know, confiscated for legal reasons.
And we didn't get there so far, right? So
Yeah.
that's- we never really thought about it, but that's a really good point, Kathy.
And just so everybody is clear, I just want to clarify for myself as well, that it is not simply a matter of replying to a message, but the sending of the message itself is a
Yep.
violation. So it's not like, just because you didn't reply all, doesn't mean that my initial email is not a violation.
Mhm.
Because it says, as per the wording, that you should not be communicating with all members.
Yes.
For anything, except for, agenda and
Agendas,
minutes and
yeah.
things like that. That's what the wording of OML
Yeah.
says.
Yeah.
Because
We
shared.
we chatted about it, and that is exactly what I'm calling for, that don't send a message or an email that will call for a discussion. Just make sure that if you really want to discuss something, then we can schedule some time. I and Joe will make sure that we have a lot of some time to meet with you, talk with you over the phone, over Zoom, or even in person, whatever schedule works for you and for us as well, like mutually.
Recording in progress. Oh, Cynthia, if you're logging in, if you mute your, not just your speaker and microphone. I've just gone through this with Joe.
Yeah. It's not like we've been doing that here hours here.
You can leave your camera on, you just need to mute your speaker and your microphone, so you'll still, yeah. So you can share your screen, but
So when you join the meeting, actually it gives an option, right? Join with the audio, and if you just don't choose any audio, then you can just use. I tried not doing it. Okay, no problem. Do you need any help? Can I come over and help you?
I'll just go back and try it again.
Okay, no problem.
Very good. So we are well set with a 7 to 5 item?
Yep.
Great. So open forum. Anybody have anything for the open forum?
Well, I went to the movie that was sponsored by Community Teamwork Incorporated. Who Are We Are, a chronicle of racism in America. And it was done very, very well. And there was Magali was there from the school. And we both ended up going to talk to somebody afterwards, because they said that they had made copies and different communities could borrow it. And we asked if we could be on the list for people who wanted to borrow it. And we figured that doing it together between the school and the DEI committee. And what I see our group doing is also contacting all the departments. This is a really good movie. It shows you how you might have a bias, but you don't even realize you have it. And it's really very well done. And I think everybody really was hit by it, where they thought that this was something that other people would enjoy as well, because it's done in a very nice manner. Everybody is very polite. It's just really, really well done. And I know Magali is very interested in getting it done too.
we spoke in depth about that more yesterday. So the 3 co-chairs of the school committee met, and we kind of, apparently they have 10 licenses for this movie, but I think only 4 of them have been taken. So we potentially have the option to do 2 showings. You know, we were kind of wondering, would we do a town and school? But we kind of thought, after kind of thinking about the logistics, we thought it might make sense to do an initial community showing at WA, hopefully with the Q&A as part of it, similar to what you saw, Madonna. And then based off that, kind of maybe then look at if we want to do something with it in the academy itself, some sort of viewing.
Oh, well, that's where we were thinking we were going to do it, those in the academy.
Yeah, but no, for staff and students. We're
Okay.
going to do a second showing for staff and students,
okay.
yeah.
Well, one of the things that, well, we figured parents would be invited as
Exactly.
well. And for the time, when we talked about it, DEI said they would do anything that they could to help us.
Yeah.
And in fact, have sent somebody over to help us with the whole process.
Yeah.
So they're very, very cooperative. And I think that would be,
Yeah.
really good.
Magali was thinking kind of, she mentioned timeframe sometime in the new year might be a good time.
In the, yeah,
Yeah.
probably in the beginning of the new year,
Yeah.
we can try to look for the first or second.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
Yeah.
So we're still being formed up. Do you want folks to work with you on that? Do you
Oh,
feel-
yes, we need as many people as we can get.
Okay.
And that's why we also want people from the different departments in town to help us with it as well, because I think the more they're involved, the more they'll help get people there from their departments. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
Okay.
most definitely. I mean, I think, once you have a date.
Yeah.
And when it's gonna be shown, then, obviously let us know, and then, we can certainly tell Kristen as the town manager who can, promote it with the department heads, we'll promote it with the select board.
Well, I'll try and have an appointment with her and talk to her about it as well, so she doesn't get blindsided from from anywhere. So I think that would be great. Thank you.
What will be the process, Andrea, in that case? What will be the process for that? Is that when there's a action required, for example, Meadowlark is proposing, or it has been discussed by schools? What is the process when you will have to probably call all the department heads, and how does it go?
So Kristen meets with our department heads, I don't know, once every other week, once a month, I don't know, but
Okay,
she meets with them regularly.
okay,
I would suspect if, Madonna went, gave Kristen a call and said, hey, we're gonna try and put this program together. This is what it's about. Could you, talk with your department heads about it? That's what she would do.
okay.
And then in terms of the select board, all you need to do is call us and get on the agenda and we'll promote it.
Okay,
It was very easy to talk to DEI because for me, I was once upon a time a member of their board. And I happened to be on the committee that chose the current director. And so she remembers me. So, and she's a really good woman. And what they do for the community, nobody really knows how much they actually are doing in all of the different departments in the community. And especially the Board of Health and other areas in those areas. But it's amazing what they do.
So it sounds like we're committed to doing it, and we just need to get a space, a place, and a time.
I think, like, we're committed, this, Chris and Chu and Magali yesterday were saying absolutely we could use the WA what is the PAC? Yeah, I always mix up PCA, PAC.
That's
Yeah.
PAC.
Yeah.
PCA is in the
Center. Too many items. And so the only thing I would say is we probably have to have some sort of way to register like a ticketed events, like you can use Eventbrite or something, just to make sure we're obviously not going over capacity. And that would be the only thing.
Well, what they did is they had sent it out and then they had a list of people who were going to be there.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably, if you can get people to say that they're committed to being there, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Because I know I had to fill a form out.
Yes, yes.
Was it full?
What?
Was it full?
It, what theater we were in was pretty full.
Okay.
Not completely, but it was pretty full. There
Was it a movie theater in Lowell, I think?
Yeah,
wasn't it?
we had it in movie theater in Washington, and it was done very well.
so what I'm hearing is, I'm sorry, go ahead.
At the same time, if you're showing it, live at WA, is there the capacity to also zoom it simultaneously?
No, because
Okay.
I think it's to do with license.
Okay.
Yeah,
For a certain.
Well,
use or
actually,
purpose.
we could probably do them both together for one license.
for one license.
If we were doing it on the same
On
night.
the
the
same,
same
well,
night at
that's,
the same
I'm
time.
simultaneously
Oh, okay.
doing that, so if there are people who can't
Access.
access
Yeah.
it, can't get out, but they wanna watch it, they could watch it from home.
that it's not recorded, so it's
Yeah,
just.
that's.
That's something to check out.
Something to think
Oh,
about.
that part we have not asked,
Yeah.
so that's a question we
Something to
need to
ask.
ask, whether we could have it.
Probably
so
just a
that-
clarification of the license, if the license prohibits it.
Yeah, that's what we need to know.
Yeah, I feel like it probably does, but.
But
yeah.
they talked about our being able to have both of them in the same, at the same place. But, and it just being one license, but, because they know that we'll get more people if we do it that way, and we have.
Yeah.
So what I'm hearing, it's a two-part phase, right? One is that school is going to work on it within their system to show it to their school
Well,
students.
Magali
No.
and I have been working on it
Yeah.
already.
Okay,
And we're talking to the representative from DEI, from CTI, that is in charge of it.
okay.
And so we're getting a lot of information and they're very helpful.
Who is it? Is that Anne Survey?
No, it's, I can't remember her name right now. So,
No, so what
I
I was
have-
saying, it's a two-part process. Once in the school for the school staff and the children, students.
So,
Another process
yeah,
India was talking about is opening it up to the other departments. So these are like two different phases. Am I getting it wrong?
No, I mean,
so the idea would be a community showing, which Madonna and Magali are working on.
Yep.
And that we would promote it across departments
Okay,
and
gotcha.
stuff, but parents and everything or could attend. And based off how that goes, then school DEI, the schools might consider doing a showing specifically for staff and students at WA.
Gotcha.
But they're not gonna do anything until. I
Until
think-
they've seen it.
Until they've seen phase one in action.
Okay, that's more clear. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, it certainly could be an educational piece, absolutely, for the students. Would you entertain volunteers to help you
Well, certainly,
at this point?
of course we would.
Well, I'd like to help. So
Good.
just let me
That
know.
would be great.
You're gonna do the popcorn stuff?
Sell hot dogs, so.
They did give us a nice neat little.
Did they?
They before, a bag that was so big that I couldn't carry it. A popcorn.
Popcorn bag. And that's the combination, movie and popcorn. Okay.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's great.
I have another one, if that's okay.
Yeah.
This morning I met with with BME, which is partnering with, the town to, and especially the Board of Health, to figure out, I don't know, they're trying to identify what the needs of the town are so they can make a presentation. I don't know exactly. I figured, so you might know.
I know, it's the
I
first time I heard it.
was invited and I wasn't sure how I got on the list, but I got invited and I did go. And I did tell them I was on this committee. And so that's, but I talked about the people in the senior center. I talked about kids in school. I talked about what I thought. I told them what I thought we should be looking at as far as things that need to be
Is this
done.
what I guess, is this what the Board of Health you met or,
Well, I think it was Ray Dick.
yeah, she's the chair of that board, whatever. the
And
title
Sue
is.
Thomas, a sustainability
So
coordinator.
Sue Thomas is sustainability and Ray Dick is, I'm not exactly sure, but she heads the health department.
And there's Allison Christopher,
Who's our social worker,
Nicole Laviol.
who's our wellness
Lavi-
coordinator.
Laviette, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce
No,
it.
you're fine.
It was the Westford Community Health Assessment Group.
It's yes, it is.
Oh,
About
okay.
a health assessment and what we need. I think maybe one of our members here was there as well.
Wendy,
Oh, Wendy.
she's got her hand
She has
raised,
her hand up.
actually.
Can we give Wendy the floor for a second?
Pardon?
Can we give Wendy the floor? please?
Let him give you, yeah.
Yeah. Wendy, go right ahead.
Yep, so I was there as well, and there was apparently a first meeting on September 27th that was a kickoff for this, but I wasn't at that one. This one was supposed to be identifying community priorities. They did a survey with the Greater Lowell Health Alliance, and it was a survey of quite a few people. They gave us data that I haven't looked at yet. But it seemed like there was a big concern in the meeting of how the survey questions were worded that kind of might not pick up some of the validity of what the real health concerns are in Westford, and also that there were kind of big buckets in terms of what could be picked, and you know, it's a wide range of things. So I felt like we didn't really get anywhere today except poking holes in the survey process, which was valid. So that's my takeaway from today.
They only had 280 people respond. That was all the information they had gotten so far.
What, is this a survey they've sent out to the people of Westford?
Apparently.
Yes.
I got it.
Yeah,
I
we-
responded.
We got it.
I don't ever.
Oh, Vale, okay.
I responded.
Was it email?
Survey?
Was it email or mail?
What?
No, email.
Email,
Yeah,
right?
I just
It
put it online.
was a survey
Yeah, I
that they sent out. I
responded.
don't know what it was called. I didn't get it. So,
Are they gonna reassess and do again?
sounds like
Are
they're
you
not
looking to
planning on it
reconsider-
from what I heard.
Not
But
planning.
I think that what they're trying to do is that's why they're reaching out in lots of different areas to ask people to come, but the people didn't arrive, didn't show up for it either,
Oh, for the meeting.
for the meeting.
Was the
And I know
meeting
that they
earlier
had-
than the day today, Madonna?
It's at
Pardon?
10 o'clock in the morning.
Can I-
Yeah.
This morning.
I think that's why I didn't
Yeah.
respond. I can't go at 10
No,
o'clock.
the survey was nothing to do with the meeting.
No, this was to 10 o'clock this morning.
No, I meant the meeting was separate and the survey we received was separate.
The meeting was separate from the survey. We were looking at the results of the meeting,
So
Of
the
the
next,
survey.
the next meeting, I imagine, will be another couple of months from now. Did they set it
It's, I think it's next month,
the next
right?
month?
November 29th.
Oh, yeah, they have it on the list of things when they sent it.
That on Wednesdays, last Wednesdays of every month in that case, because if they had it today, which is the last Wednesday of the month,
27th.
and 29th is the last
Okay.
Wednesday of November as well.
Is the plan then to take the data that they've collected then and kind of package it and present
They're
it?
gonna package it so they can, from what I gathered, and please help me if you have heard something different. But what I heard was that they were trying to get it so that they could then put something together that would encompass all of the things that they thought were most important for the community. All the things that the community wanted the most.
And then what are they gonna do with it?
So what I could tell, it was all the departments in town were interested. Well, we don't know that yet.
Okay.
I'm sorry, who is doing
But
it? I lost the first.
But I
part.
think it's coming out through it's mostly about health. And so it's coming out through all the departments that touch on health.
Which it sounds like it's fairly broadly defined in terms of health, right? And so,
It's all, well, I can give you the list that who's on that committee. And so
Well, that's Kristen.
okay.
What's going
You
on?
let us know.
And what is the organization? I'm sorry, I missed the part that.
I
the
think it's-
DME, which I'm not exactly sure what that
Okay, I'll
was.
look
They
that up,
didn't
that's
exact, I don't think did they introduce what BME stood for?
It's fine.
I believe it was just B&E strategies. It sounded like an
BM.
or an organization. Oh, BM.
One of the
It's a
departments
company.
has engaged.
It is a company.
She looked
Has
it up.
engaged a consulting firm. it sounds
Okay,
like.
all right. So
That's during the data,
To do
putting it
this, yeah,
together
I
for
know.
somebody, and I'm not
We would
sure.
act on the data as a
But I
town
think it
to address health concerns.
Ray Dick may have something to do with
Is
it.
it a company hired by?
So
one
this was, no, this was an
department, by the
email
town?
sent to me. They were looking for a school person, but we went back saying it should be somebody from this central office as opposed to school committee.
So
Yeah, there were a lot of questions for schools as well.
Was there somebody there from the
No.
schools? Are you kidding?
There was nobody there,
It's
but
a
I
public
think
health
there were a lot of questions about. Well, I asked some of them about students and things that the students needed.
Okay.
So,
I'm glad that they are seeking the perspective of a member of the DEI committee. I think that's important. It sounds like it's not perfectly clear where they're headed. Henry, if there's any kind of a summary or phrasing.
I'll see what I can find out. Okay.
So the
And
county has
It
hired
says
them?
they're a public health consulting firm that specializes in providing strategic planning.
Here, in specific in the email, it said they were holding 4 meetings, September, October, November, and January, to review the Westford specific community survey responses from the previous Greater Lowell Health Alliance assessment. They want to identify key priority areas for community health in Westford based on the previous community survey and publicly available data. And their third goal is developing and aligning collective strategies for addressing these priority areas in Westford. And the November 29th meeting is reviewing Westford specific data. And the January 31st one is adopting a Westford specific CHIP, C-H-I-P. Community Health
Plan.
Improvement Plan.
Yeah.
That's what I figured.
Thank you.
Uh,
I am curious how this was initiated or started.
Yeah, so like who
That's-
hired them is what I'm asking.
because-
Yeah, I was thinking that. too.
How can we, base the assessment on 280 people?
that's all they got for results. So that's what they
It's
have
not
to
gonna
work
be
with.
that,
That's why they're reaching out further, is because they
oh,
didn't
they
feel
want
it,
more people to
Sort of like-
fill it out?
not, well, to fill it out, but they also want them to come and be part of these meetings so that they can. And they've sent out a number of people, it's sent me to a large number of people from what I can tell.
Does anybody know what the questions were on that or have any inkling? It
I don't
sounds
remember.
like
I know I
No,
answered.
we didn't see a copy of it, but we can get one.
Yeah. What's
that'd be
the
good.
purpose?
The questions were in the email follow-up they sent today, so Madonna and I probably have access to those.
If you can share with me.
Yeah, maybe you could
Roberta,
send them
and
on
then we
to
can See how
us.
we can disperse that to the committee as well.
Yeah, I did.
As we are talking about, don't send an email to the whole committee. Is that okay?
You can send, okay? I mean, you're sending information to the committee, okay? If you want to
Yeah.
respond to that, then they should only respond to you and Joe. But when you're getting information out to people, whether it's a report or something like this, you
That's all
can
right.
send that to the whole
Like a-
committee.
Yeah.
Okay, sounds good.
It's no deliberation.
Right.
Thanks, Madonna, and thank you, Wendy, for representing us on that. It sounds like we do want to find out a little bit about the survey, about how this was instigated originally. I think to have some input, having a DEI lens on health, I think makes sense. But it'd be better if we had a stronger sense of why. Anything else for open forum? Thanks, Madonna. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to the 720 item, we're just a little behind. I asked Andrea to talk to us a little bit, provide a summary of the discussion from last night's select board meeting. That was sort of a reflection or response to our maybe some action steps related to some of the questions related to access that came up. That's another time.
So certainly, we're all aware of the issues and the problems that people had access in town meeting a week ago. And the board is certainly committed to addressing those issues and trying to address those issues and making sure that, you know, some of the problems that we have never occur again. In thinking about things and what we can do, some of the ideas that we have already come up with and that have been suggested to us include, for example, better lighting if we're having meetings at night, you know, people who can, you know, so you can see, if anybody were here at a select board meeting last night, we had bright light lighting the way for everybody. But, you know, I think that that's important. Signage, parking was was a huge issue. Part of that was due to Mother Nature, what we had planned for. we could not use, the parking on the fields because they were so wet. So, but that being said, there was no signage as to where to send people instead, so we thought about, signage, lighting, notification in advance so people know, what's out there, what's available. With folks who are disabled and, who maybe, the lines to check in were very long, there's no question about it. But for folks who are unable to stand for that long a period of time or who are otherwise disabled, having a line that's dedicated for those folks so that they can more easily check in, having more parking spaces available for not only for disabled people as well. Perhaps running a van from the senior center for some of our seniors who may want to attend a meeting, but don't want to drive. You don't want to have to hassle with parking. Those are some of the things that we're talking about and thinking about for the future. And so if there are certainly other ideas in this committee, please feel free to funnel them to me, and I will funnel them on to the select board and to our town manager, because at the end of the day, the goal is that we want town meeting to be as accessible as possible for everyone who wants to attend, so that they can. These are just some of the suggestions that we've gotten so far and that we've come up with, but I'm sure they're not all that's out there, so I welcome input from anybody with any further suggestions.
Just an extension to what you just said, Andrea, about running a van from senior center to that location. Alternatively, or alongside would be, if there are nearby schools like Robinson or any other schools where we could utilize the parking and then have the van run from.
We
those
could do that,
locations,
yeah, I should have mentioned that, is
Yeah.
that, having a van, I know people walk through the woods from Robinson to get to the academy, but we certainly could have a van running from wherever the excess parking was to the academy or wherever the meeting is being held, yes.
Speaking of vans, the school has 18 vans.
And we could have used,
You could lose, and the thing is anybody can kind of drive them, I believe, based on the insurance, because that kind of popped up the other night as we were sitting there waiting. So I think that's something to kind of explore for March, based on a van and into the school parking, that's whatever. That's another day.
Clickers.
More clickers.
The biggest-
We
I think you got 200, didn't you, extra for that meeting?
we have 800 right now.
Yeah,
And we ordered 800 sort of when we looked historically at, the largest attendance that we've had at town meeting over the last, 10 years. We ordered extras and we ordered 800. We are gonna order more.
How many people attended this?
1,124 checked in.
which is amazing. I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Access to town community. But then Valerie, I know in her research for that group, did say it's very much topic driven.
Oh, yeah.
So like any of her research, it didn't matter necessarily time and date. I will say Monday night at 7 o'clock is hard for parents with younger kids. It doesn't happen. Even the daycare option doesn't help, especially if they're.
Not just parents, I mean, people like, my husband would have gone, but he's recovering from major surgery, he couldn't stay up that late.
Yeah.
If he was completely barred from attending that because of the timing,
Yeah.
and we checked and we saw the line, and he couldn't, and that's not making democracy available to everyone.
Yeah.
So the question is what other time do you do it?
I was about
And,
to say that.
and,
Scott,
and,
just to
and,
add to it.
and the choice is Saturday,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and, there are a lot of people that think that Saturdays are not good because the kids
Yeah.
play sports. So it makes it so parents can't go. So they have one on Saturday and one on Monday.
But I think
And,
even doing it earlier on a Monday. So like, I mean, if
Then
you
you
could
get
pull
parents
it.
that-
But then you have
Work.
6 o'clock. I mean, and you get folks who work. You're never gonna,
Yeah, you'll never win with it.
And in fairness, if you wanna go to town meeting, typically you'll make it work. I know medically you couldn't.
That's,
Yeah.
I don't think that's true.
Well,
Yeah.
I think that when you had, there was no parking, we left a half an hour before,
Yeah,
and I just lived down the road,
yeah,
and it was full when we got there.
oh, yeah.
We ended up. I don't know, they're probably parking illegally.
There was a lot of that
Just as
stuff.
the way out, there was a corner where you could go up onto the road and.
I wouldn't worry about it.
I don't think WPD was going on.
Yeah.
You know, but it was completely full when we got there. And so people knew that there was going to be a lot more, and I don't think everybody anticipated that.
So which leaves you March, Saturdays in March when sports have not begun. I guess like that seems to be
The schedule standpoint.
or outdoors.
I think very clear, did you?
No, I was just gonna say, like, I've always been a huge proponent of town meeting. I think it's democracy at its purest roots, and I love it. But I don't think it's the right method of governance for our town anymore. I really don't. I think our town's too big. I think the fact that you have 1,100 people out of how many thousands of voters is a huge disservice to the rest of the voters in town. I appreciate the model of it, but I think it's not appropriate for us to do anymore. Enough given us a lot of thought.
They were saying that they did study, you're talking about representative town meeting.
No,
instead.
I'm talking about from a city. Yeah.
You want a mayor?
Wow.
Well, apparently you
The
can
city
do it
council.
without having a mayor, but yeah.
Next thing you want to.
You know, board of aldermen. Like that, yes.
But you're still the mayor.
But to be fair though, even without any of these issues, when we have elections, I think our turnout is somewhere around 10 or 12%.
Yeah,
So
but at
to be
least you
fair,
have the option of voting if you want. You
I'm
know,
sorry?
because you have the whole day to vote, and if you know you aren't gonna be able to be there, you could do an absentee ballot. There are a
Yes.
lot more options, like you can't vote remotely for town meeting.
oh, no, I
Yeah.
wasn't saying that. I was just saying that just as another data point. In the town, when we have elections, typically our
Yeah.
turnout is about 10 to 12%.
Yeah.
That was just another data, but I wasn't saying that what you were saying was wrong, but just that. You know,
And-
when there is
No, I didn't-
everything
I didn't
provided,
take it that way.
Yeah. Even when everything is going right, it's not like we have massive voter
Right.
turnout.
So we would have for this. topic.
Yes, this,
And it's, I mean, it is hard to, well, I think your point about town meeting, it is sort of the virtues, the town meeting and vices. It doesn't typically, it's not very representative per se, but it is what we've gotten used to. And the access aspects that you've been talking about would apply as we continue, whether it's a town meeting that gets 1,200 people, or if it gets 400. Right, it would still be, still, these are probably still good.
Right, these are still some of the, I think are very valid, no matter what the size of the two.
If you knew there was a separate line for people who were disabled, would that have made it easier? Because it sounds like they're gonna do
yeah,
that.
I
in
think
the
that's something we
future.
For some
consider.
people, yeah, I mean, but it was also very late. I mean, you have to factor like the point of parents with young kids, people who are older, some, I don't want to classify it. Some people can't stay that late. Some people have very early, like I have to be at work at 7 a.m. Like, thought it'd be another meeting at 10 p.m. was really painful. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's always, I don't know, I just don't think it worked.
There were a number of people who left before the vote, and it was because they were older, and you could tell that they just were ready.
I mean, the thing is, I think everybody was operating in as good a faith as possible.
Yeah.
It's a tough situation, from what I understand.
And there's not a building in town that's large enough to contain the number that came. There's
And-
not one building here.
That's the anonymous, I can't even speak there, this, thank you, Seema. But like, I mean, if you look at the past, I mean, there's even town meetings we're waiting to make quorum at 200. So like, if, you know,
I remember that very well.
yeah,
I remember being on my phone calling people.
Yeah.
To town meetings.
so like this was an
crazy, yeah.
extraordinary
Yeah,
meeting. I mean, I don't know, can you do a meetings like a special town
You
meeting
can.
just for
you can.
the hot topic buttons, because that's essentially what Valerie's research showed is that
You can do that.
yeah, and maybe you do something like that over 2 nights when you know you have an article. Okay, one night we do the business and the second night we do the hot button.
And I think
topic or
that people were concerned because we all got cards and we had clickers.
Yeah.
And the cards, we knew that there were people there that were, they weren't voters, but they were just there to hear what was going on. And yet we saw more people coming in at the end to vote and having a card after they'd done and I think that there was maybe a little of concern that some of the things were after you had done your vote, that it was passed on.
Yeah, I think, Angela addressed that yesterday as well.
Right, I was sitting in the back and I saw a lot of people who had handed in their clickers.
Yeah.
And all they had was their cards,
And they came in.
and they
with-
wanted to vote,
Yeah.
and they couldn't get their clickers
Yeah.
back,
Correct.
so they went in the PAC.
Yeah.
But the people in the PAC had no idea whether those are people that had handed in their clickers or hadn't handed in their clickers. So that's
So-
why the vote
That's
was
why-
invalidated.
yeah, so the vote was
That's
not
right, yeah.
And now, in fairness to Angela,
Right.
she had
That's
warned
what I think.
people,
Not
don't
to
hand back your clickers, like
Right.
this may continue.
And
but
every advertisement for the town meeting said free transportation. I mean, 3 people use it. I mean, there were 830 spots. I mean, everyone came in one car. You know, it's, you know, it was a compounded problem.
Yeah.
And it's also hard to guess how many people were gonna show up.
Yeah, I mean, we did our best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, one point that I'd like to make about the voting, or say people had to leave early and they couldn't vote, or they couldn't. The totals for that last question was about 1060. Right? Because it was like, if I remember correctly, it was something like 590 to 477, somewhere around there, that ballpark. So say 1060, that's lowballing it. If there was 1124 for people, it's not that many people that weren't doing
Right,
it.
you're
So
right.
I don't think that's really an issue. You know, if you look at the numbers.
It was the reconsideration vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where people lost their decorum
Yeah.
and became, they lost it. And really, made it so that there was no control
It's pandemonium.
or no ability for control.
Yeah.
And I don't think we want the police coming in and busting heads on people that are behaving like that. So what do? You just, if people aren't gonna behave like civil members of society, then you have pandemonium.
Well,
I think it does a disservice to the outcome of the meeting, because it then starts to call into question, it gives people areas of doubt, like the process wasn't followed. Is there integrity in the vote? And that's very frustrating, regardless of what the outcome is the fact that there are people feeling like they're questioning the validity of our town meeting from that night.
Right, well, that vote didn't get counted.
Yeah.
And so everything else is
Everything else is
valid.
kind of-
Oh, yeah, but I'm saying that because of how it ended,
Right,
that leads to those discussions then, and that's the frustrating thing, that
it was
people are
it was
doubting.
those people in the back that made it so that it couldn't continue.
May I imagine that before the next town meeting, there might be a communication from, say, the select board or somebody, sort of reminding folks about how, you know, these situations can sometimes get tense, and it's important that we, you know, sort of let the moderator or the meeting, you know, pay attention to the forum. That's sort of another takeaway, because I can't remember in my 30 years being here when there was such a large number of people attending ever. I don't know, Donna, if you can,
No,
or Andrew,
ever.
if you can.
there's never been that many.
The only one, I'm thinking about, no, not even the other. And this was, I think, in the late 90s. Do you remember when we were gonna purchase Lakeside? I think that one, if not as many, that one came close to 1,000 people.
So you never got over the place.
I don't think so, but that's the only, I was talking to some folks, that's the only meeting that, I mean, I remember being in, it was in the summer too, because I remember it was really hot. And I think we were in the academy. No, we were in Abbott. Okay, I remember we were in Abbott, and that's the only one that we really do remember that either was 1,000 or came really close.
The NAB school, and there were another couple others um, that were contentious. I think Blanchard, which got voted down. Stuff like that.
The override was only about 800. Really? Yeah. Interesting.
I would say that we probably all would, we all appreciate the fact that the select board has come up with 4, 5, or 6 or 7 different ways to address access. I think access is a piece that really resonates with our mission or our charge.
So I just went to, when you're finished, Joe, sorry, that's.
That's good to do that, because I should finish.
No, sorry, I was just saying before you move on.
Yeah.
I appreciate that this has all been talking about access, and I know a lot of that goes back to select board, but it has stuck with me of, as the town DEI committee, one aspect that I would like to raise is the language and incidents which I heard and had reported to me after that night. And it feels to me that this is something that squarely resides with this committee in what can we do moving forward to ensure that, I mean, my 13-year-old son was there and he heard language about certain people in school, in the government and running the meeting and stuff, that I was, I mean, thankfully I'm able to have conversations with him, but I was appalled that he was hearing Westford residents, grown, let's be honest, men, sorry guys, and that's the way they were speaking of people in our community. I did hear of racial slurs being used.
I heard that.
And that for me was almost the worst than anything else, was that we couldn't gather the community together without what I call really the ugly side of Westford showing its head in front of our kids. So that's probably, sorry, I would talk about this forever. It really upset me last week. And I don't know how you guys could consider addressing it, but
It's upsetting. for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I didn't experience that where I was.
Yeah, no, it was from different places. Some were in the bathroom, some were coming in the entranceway. Some just heard people like sitting in front of them or behind them in rows. So it was from different spots and from different people I heard from.
We should
including
probably
myself.
move on in a second, but Madonna, did you?
Well, I think that even some of the people who were standing there handing stuff out were not exactly, their language was not always something you'd expect to hear. And I do think though that, and I know you said you think that having police officers might make it worse. I don't know that I think that. I think maybe having an officer there and having it announced at the beginning of the meeting that anyone who is disruptive would be asked to leave the building. And that's been put out there before the meeting even begins. And that it's known that there were things that people were concerned about, and that's one of them. And so, you were afraid even to sort of walk in some of the areas.
I think
certainly
that
would be a
whole
slippery slope.
hallway is
So
gonna
one
be
of the-
revisited.
Yeah, one of the
Sure,
things,
somebody has their hand up.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
Joanne.
Somebody has.
Yes, Joan, why don't you go ahead?
Thank you. I'm unmuted. Yeah, I think it's a really good point. And it's distressing to hear that there was that kind of language. I was not in town, so I did not attend. And I'm wondering if one of our contributions might be to propose ground rules for town meeting, rather than if you do this, you will be expelled, but to, on the front end, talk about some ground rules that make a space a more civil and space safe place for people to attend. And I don't think we've ever done that at town meeting, but that's something we do in diversity work and we try to do here. So respectful language, agree to disagree, any of those types of things that we want to present as ground rules might be a contribution that we can offer.
Yeah, I was talking to Angela about that earlier. this morning.
And one of the things also, I mean, I brought this up last night at the select board meeting, in our town elections. For town elections, if you're holding a sign or advocating for a position, you have to be 150 feet away from the entrance. And, you had to walk a gauntlet to get into, a special town meeting on Monday night. And I think, and I've suggested that we as a town look at a policy where not only for elections, but at town meeting, special town meetings, that people can hold their signs, advocate for whatever position they want, but they need to be 150 feet away from the entrance so that people can access the building without feeling like, they're being accosted by whatever group, okay?
But even like you said, for an access even,
And for
there was,
access, I mean,
so many people, and we had the same when the teachers were there at the last meeting.
right.
We need to keep footpaths cleared and, sidewalks.
When's the next
I
time?
know, March.
March, right, we have a little time to think about this, but are we basically agreed that it makes sense for this committee to weigh in on civility, on decorum, on access? Sort of taking the high road, but making sure that we're not so diplomatic that we don't make our point.
Well, we want to make sure that everybody feels that they're welcome to be there.
Yeah.
And that we make it,
Per Joanne.
we use equity
Yeah.
to try and make sure that it's accessible enough for everybody to be able to get in.
So from that standpoint, I think India did mention that select board is already addressing the access issue. Do we have to work on that? Because if select
No,
board
I'm
is
not-
already addressing it, then.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I wasn't suggesting sort of outlining specific access aspects. I was more thinking that we could, the ground rules, that we could weigh in with the state. That
Yeah.
would be encouraging.
Or just, send a letter to the select board, okay? You know what I mean?
Or even to, coming up to town election, social media campaign, consider flyers. I don't know. I mean, look, people are still going to do and say stupid stuff. We know that, but I think it's important at the same time. I'll be honest, I would love for my son to be able to see that there's a group of adults in the community that say what happened is not okay. And we interact that.
This issue is gonna come up again.
Exactly, which is,
It will come up again.
That's just a quick question. Who would you contact if you were gonna have trouble accessing town meeting?
Town hall, I mean, usually
Just
it's
town hall.
at the bottom is town hall, or I assume.
The moderator.
The moderator as well, also on her webpage has
I assume everyone knows that I'm married to the moderator.
I did not.
Glad you let me know.
Sorry.
Very shocking.
But yeah, either town hall or the moderator.
Thank you, Andrea, for the summary, and thank everybody for your contribution. Angie and I will talk about during the statement. So why don't we move on to the next item, the next set of items. This is the 745 item number 5. And we wanted to just update a little bit on what's been going on, that activities that we're doing that support our strategic directions, which are celebrating Westford's diversity and integrating DEI across town communities, boards, and departments. We talked a little bit about that earlier with Madonna, but we'll start at the top.
Multicultural calendar, I tried to set up a meeting, but I know that I couldn't, so I and Meghna had met a week ago and we had started to talk about what the calendar looks like. But I also wanted to confirm who are all the members so that I can set up some time and send you the invite for either tomorrow or Sunday, or we'll figure out a time, but within definitely a week. So Madonna, were you part of that? You are looking at me to set up the calendar, and pardon my voice.
No. I'm probably thinking.
Seema, I have you, Andrea, I have you, Meghna is there, and myself.
Oh, I
Then
think,
have Ankit.
Wendy.
Wendy
Wendy.
is raising her hand, so thank you, Wendy. And Cynthia, I have Cynthia, right? You also raised your hand to be in part of that, okay. Ankit is not in the meeting right now, but I believe he had
He
raised
did,
his hand
yes,
as,
yeah.
yeah, well. Am I missing anyone?
But, because I did get your email, so
I mean,
I'm in there somewhere, yeah.
okay, I mean. I've missed it.
Somewhere out in the ether.
Something around out there.
Yeah, so just wanted to make sure, and I will set up some time, I'm gonna send an email either tonight or tomorrow morning, I'll get onto your calendar to have meeting set up. Apart from that, there is an event coming in Westford Academy, it's called as Darba. It is to celebrate the one of the festivals that includes dance and then Diwali. That is going to be on November 17th. And they have asked for as many people as can. I believe the DEI committee or the community, South Asian community is arranging that.
No, yeah, it's the WA South Asian Club, so what's
South Asian Club, yeah, we are doing that. So I believe last year I got ready and moment I was about to walk in WA, I didn't see many adults. So I just shied away and went back home.
There weren't that many adults.
Yeah.
So
I was there. Young kids night.
I was there, yeah, but there was like Valerie was there, I was there, Anita was there, we were all like sitting on one table on the side.
Exactly.
It was mostly kids, and I think that's how it should be.
Yeah, but I'm told that it is open for adults as well. So
I just-
kids as well as
Yeah, so
adults.
that's great, but if it is still happening in the cafeteria, I just feel like adults should probably stay back
Stay back,
because it has limited capacity.
Yeah.
And so if adults show up, then I don't know how that's gonna play out, because there was pretty good turnout last time.
Okay, all right.
Although that was not darba, that was chaat masala, what you're talking about, yeah.
Okay,
But I don't know. I'm just putting it out there that it has limited capacity.
Okay.
So if it's a popular event, then I don't know. I mean, it's great if adults can come, but I think like this should be for the kids.
okay, so then I'm gonna say probably like call upon all the kids of
Yes.
WA, right? To go
Yeah.
and attend or maybe.
So kind
their
of push
friends
it
as
to the
well.
kids.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. All right, so that is it for now. Multicultural calendar. Thanksgiving will be here soon, of course. I don't know about the events if they're happening. I know everybody will have Thanksgiving dinners in their houses, but Diwali is coming. I don't know if there's any event of Diwali either. Diwali is on November 12th.
It's a Sunday.
It's a 12th is a Sunday.
That's why there's no holiday in the schools.
Oh, I did not realize that. So thank you, Seema.
I looked at it at the beginning of
But then should it not be like if a Christmas falls on a Sunday, will we
Well,
not have
it
one
was,
day off?
it was one of those holidays that was introduced last year. and
Yeah.
There was some discussion. I was not part of those discussion on school
Okay.
committee this time. I don't know whether it was just like, started last year. This year it's a Sunday, so it's a holiday anyways.
Yes,
Okay.
so some of it is to try and balance out the number of days we take
Holidays,
off.
Yeah,
And because we know, each year it may change, because I think we're okay for, is it Lunar New Year for another year or two, but then it kind of does come into play, so.
yeah,
It's kind of gonna be a year-on-year review of
gotcha.
what day we can take.
So
Yeah,
this year it worked out because
Yeah.
it's a Sunday, so.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. I have taken 2 days off after Sunday. I'm like, I'm gonna enjoy my
I wanna
weekend.
go
with
I wanna go
Diwali,
to your party.
And I'm not working on Monday and Tuesday, so here it is.
Because Diwali is really as big, if not
Yes.
bigger, as Christmas.
Yeah.
It is the biggest
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, for now?
Yeah, that you can do.
Yeah,
Something
okay, so
colored
for
column.
everyone.
Yeah,
who
that's
is-
holy,
Holy,
that's in
okay.
March.
Like,
Yeah,
hold on,
that's,
that's-
that's what I did.
So everyone on the calendar,
Right.
can we meet tomorrow at 7 o'clock?
Unfortunately, I can, you
I
can.
can't, that will be my like third meeting.
No.
in the house
Okay.
this week.
Anyone is open for Sunday morning? No, Sunday.
Sunday mornings, no.
By Zoom.
By Zoom, yeah, nobody's meeting in person, everything is by Zoom.
No, I know it's not in person. I don't know, I mean,
No Sunday mornings,
No
okay.
Sunday mornings, I think,
I
ideally,
get precious.
yeah.
Sunday night, no. I prepare for my week and I have to be in the office like Monday to Friday, so Sunday nights is very hard.
I don't know if keep it open Saturday,
Saturday
the only
morning?
reason I can't
Saturday
tomorrow is
Morning, I can't, I could do Sunday.
Okay.
because I have
It's
meetings.
gonna be-
You know what, if you all figure out a date, that's fine, I don't know.
Yeah, let's
No, I
see,
need it, so I'm just trying to figure out now, just take like 2 minutes so that I can put it on the agenda and then we can move ahead, put on a date.
What are the
Monday
options?
works, Tuesday works, what day works?
Tuesday works for me,
Tuesday.
Monday works
Tuesday,
for me.
India, Tuesday works for you, next Tuesday?
It's Halloween.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's a Halloween
Yeah,
night.
Monday
I
was
forgot about
Wednesday
that.
works, I think. Thursdays going forward, I'm not available because Cultural Council has started meeting.
Okay,
So
Monday works.
Monday evening.
Monday.
I can do Monday evening.
Next Thursday.
I'm afraid I can't do any
Nora,
Thursday.
How about March 3rd?
Monday,
I will
It said 7:30.
Yeah, it can be 7:30.
I don't finish till 7:30.
Joanne wants to know what the meeting is about.
It's the group to put together the multicultural calendar. So 7:30, what was it, what night?
Monday, yeah, 7:30 Monday,
yeah.
yeah, 7:30
Works for me.
Monday.
Try to go.
Yeah, okay,
Hour.
all right. 1, 2, 3, gone, okay,
Okay.
Monday.
It's like, don't give people time to think.
Thank you. The next update is just about the block party, which was on Sunday, and it was a tough day because it rained the day before, it was a little chilly. But I thought it was great. I really enjoyed myself. Would you mind holding that? shirt?
Yeah, sure.
Wendy, I think Wendy, did you design this shirt? Was that part of your? Are you?
No, I designed the flyer to try to promote the shirt, but not the shirt itself.
Sure. I think it's.
Yeah, that's actually. So, but I know Nancy is gonna make sure that we all have an opportunity to buy one.
To buy one.
I bought one already that night, that day,
That
yeah.
day, yeah.
So can I
And
ask
so did Andrew.
quickly, since you're giving an update about it, was the attendance as much as last year? Because one of the things I heard was it was not great.
Yeah, I think, I don't know, Nancy would have to
I can-
answer and Wendy.
Until again.
So, so last time I was present there and I attended this time as well. And I and Nancy did talk about right during the event that the attendance wasn't as good as last time. And then we were talking about the factors. So if you think about it, weather did
Yeah,
not
weather
look
was,
on Saturday, on Sunday was kind of iffy, right? Not the best weather, whether it's rainy, drizzly, cloudy, sunny, it was all over the place. I just also felt that the location was way too big for the number of tables we get. So it kind of looks like that there aren't many people, but there was definitely in the beginning, I think I heard that there was some traffic. Last time it was in the Franco-American. Scott, Madonna, you were there, right? With me, who was with me? I don't remember who was with me. Maybe Pat was with me. Somebody was with me last time. Or were you there too with me last time?
Pat was with you.
Was Pat with me? Okay, so last year, you know it. So last time, it was a smaller facility and then therefore it felt very crowded, but there were enough tables. The location felt like there were a lot of people, but it was small as well. The setup was good because there was a big speaker, there was a kind of a floor where the dancers could dance and people could watch from very close proximity. So maybe the location didn't really work out so well.
I'm sorry, where was it this year?
4-H.
Oh,
4-H
4-H,
fairgrounds, which was a very large facility.
Too large,
and-
yeah.
And then they had a small stage in the corner, and when all the tables are all around the ground, then it didn't make sense to have like a small stage in the side, so somehow it didn't really play out well. So hoping that next year, most likely, if we can bring it to another location, maybe Westford Commons could be a viable location. It's big, just right size, I think, big enough to have enough of committees to showcase their work or other people to have their tables, but at the same time, not too large, and it also has some covered area where people could have their performances with their music, dance. So I think that change of location would be helpful. Yeah.
I think sometimes though you run into a problem if you're gonna have it that time of year. It can be raw, damp. And so I'd make a suggestion to maybe plan it so that it's indoors and outdoors. And I don't know if this would work for the amount of people, but I remember a number of years back, there was a health fair that was run by Westford. And we used the Abbott gym. And there were all tables set up and a lot of people. And then outside in the yard, they had food trucks and other things going on. So I don't know if you know, like I didn't see what it looked like on Sunday, you know, how the volume or the amount of people participating and the space that you'd need, but something on that idea where you could have it indoors. And then if it's a rainy day, people know they can go inside as well.
I love the idea that you're talking about, and maybe something for Nancy to really take the notes on, right? Because
Perhaps tweak the time of the year a little bit, I don't know if that's possible.
So very good point, Seema, because when I thought that this time on the 22nd, it was a major conflict with some Indian festival going
Yes.
on over the weekend. So whenever I spoke with some members in the Indian community, if they were going for this international block party, to showcase a little bit of diversity, everybody said they had plans because different parts of India celebrate different events, but on the same day. So everyone was going to do some of the other festivities, they had commitments. And I was like, yeah, that's a huge conflict. So maybe we can avoid conflicts in the future, then you will have better participation.
Yeah, because I think that calendar might be useful in that, because once the calendar is available, you'll know what major celebrations are around.
Right.
I can update Nancy on some of these ideas. I'm sure she'll appreciate it.
Yeah.
So Wendy is volunteered. We had a table. We had some collateral. But Wendy's volunteered to work with Pat on putting together sort of a bigger poster. And maybe adjusting the imagery a little bit. Do you still want to do that, Wendy? Have you reconsidered your offer?
No, I'm good to do that. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thought your flyer was really terrific, Wendy.
I heard it hurt it.
And also the flyer she put out, you know,
For the t-shirt.
through email and everything.
Oh, definitely, yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. Mhm.
So your reputation.
The DEI, it was hard to tell what you guys were at that table.
Too much focus on diversity, like it was a very diverse poster. So, well, no, we appreciate it. I mean,
The tablecloth, Joe, that we have, right? Where is
the
it?
mystery of the tablecloth, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think we've been trying to find it, but
Okay, no problem.
yeah, no, that's, I gotta give Pat a ton of credit. She put together I think the core image is really great. It's
Yeah.
3 circles, and then we can build on it.
Yep.
All right, great. So I'll actually tonight, I'll give Nancy a text. And pass along some of these ideas. All right. Why don't we move on? Sorry.
Well, since we're talking about that, and we talked about I know it's been 3 years now since the committee is there, but we've not ever talked about having a logo.
Right.
So, I'm wondering whether, I mean, and we can do this next meeting or whatever, but I think I just want to put it out there that I think maybe we could consider, and I know for the cultural council, we put it out to the WA students, we ran a competition.
And you have a logo.
And yeah, like many years ago, we did this, and we had a logo that was designed by a WA student, so something to consider.
I think that's
Yeah, so I'll email you what we had done, and then only the 2 of you, and then you can put it on the agenda for next time.
Yeah, sounds good.
Of course, we'd like the town logo,
Yes, of course.
but on top of that. Okay. All right, why don't we move on, unless there are some other ideas for activities, and feel free if you have any to email us. But we're getting closer to what our goal is, which is 8:30. I think that goal. So the next direction, strategic direction is integrating DEI across town boards and committees, et cetera. The first item is the podcast. It's really an update. The first one we just did in September, Joanne and I had in this, the first in the series of Get to Know Your DEI committee members. It's been published. Some folks been able to listen to it. That's something we have to kind of work on, make sure that it's at our site. I really thank you, Joanne. I really enjoyed it. I think that's the kind of thing that we'd like to try to continue with. It's sort of, I think it encourages people to get to know us as well, to reach out to us. The next one we're going to have will be with Magali.
Joanne and I had a question.
Oh, so go ahead, Joanne.
It was really fun. Joe and Pat and I had a really good time. And but I didn't see it on the WestfordCAT site. So I know, Joe, you sent me the link, but I think it would be great for this committee to listen to it because we wanted to have this committee be on it, get to know your DEI committee. So I don't think it was published within this committee, and I'm not sure how WestfordCAT published it.
That's a good question. It's not clear to me how that works either. I think we offered a link. I think there's a link at our part of the Westford Town webpage. But it's hard for me to navigate the WestfordCAT, frankly, the WestfordCAT.
It's very.
It's very hard, yeah.
Yeah, so I'll check with Ryan.
Yeah, because I did a search. I went in there and did a search and nothing came up. So it's not on the header. It's not in one of their boxes. It's not highlighted. It's not on a search. So I thought it was going to be highlighted because I asked him, remember I asked him when we were there, how will this be pushed out? And he said, we'll push it out on the website, but I would say it's not. And then also for this committee, maybe you can send out the link.
We can.
I think I did.
Yeah.
Okay,
I mean,
we got it. Okay, great.
I think it was today.
33 people listened to it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
It sounds really good.
Yeah, the technical aspects.
I mean, it was
Guests were
smooth.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, like the quality.
Yeah.
Is that, did you do that at WestfordCAT?
They have an amazing podcast studio.
Yeah.
And it's free.
It's
for
free.
Anybody to use.
And yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's really good.
So I'm wondering whether.
And
maybe-
support WestfordCAT because they, we've got they have financial difficulties coming up, so
Yeah.
they support
I'm
WestfordCAT.
wondering if you can listen to it on wherever you listen to your podcast from instead of going through.
Yes, you
CAT.
can.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so she
maybe
did say that you can actually pull it up on Spotify.
on
as well.
Spotify, Apple, whatever
Or
you
YouTube.
use, wherever you listen to your regular
Do a
podcast.
better job. You can, if you search it, you can, I think it's
What are the keywords?
Westford DEI Committee podcast, I believe, is the way you can find it. But what we'll try to do is work with Ryan and we'll make sure that it's clearer, that we can get it out. And actually, the thing you can do is see if we can make it so it's more evident to everybody in the community. Did you find it in there? Sorry, Jeff. Maybe it's a YouTube. Sorry, you go to YouTube and then search.
Okay.
Oh, so it's
It's on
like
YouTube.
Go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Spotify as well.
I know, yeah, I'll find out from Ryan, I'll get the marching order.
Yeah.
Tomorrow's at 3:30, Magali is gonna be joining me to talk more about what is on her mind and where she's headed with the school meeting. And we'll probably learn a little bit more about what you all are doing, or from her perspective. It's always great to have more than just me. So if anybody wants to join me at 3:30 tomorrow, one other co-host, because we'll take that opportunity to do a little get to know your DEI committee member as well.
So
We're
it's on
gonna do that.
YouTube. I found it on YouTube.
It's not on Spotify.
No, on
It's
YouTube.
on YouTube, yeah.
I found it on YouTube.
And then in November,
Oh, here it is.
Mary Claire, you're
Yeah.
available. right? At the end of November, Mary Claire and I will talk, and then I think Heinen is also gonna join, so we're gonna. Heinen? Yeah, he's not responding, so I think he is good. So, yeah, so that will be a sort of a specific get to know you one, and then we'll have another guest, and that's what we're gonna try to do. But I do think it's true, it's an opportunity to sort of maximize exposure, and we're gonna work on it. If people have topics that you think we should feature, let us know. Certainly what we're up to are important topics, but any other topics that we want to talk about, maybe if the movie syncs up with our timing, then maybe it's something we can
Yeah, that might be a bit.
Could I also put a placeholder in for the March one? And we're hopefully doing more of the Neurodiversity Celebration Week, which is March 18th to 24th this year. So I'd like to have that month, but that theme will be awesome.
Would there be somebody in the system who would talk to that?
Yeah, there's a few options.
Yeah.
Doesn't necessarily have to be within the schools. I mean, the whole idea is that it's a kind of a community initiative. We're going to be going to select board too. So. It started out very small last year in the schools, kind of took it and ran with it, and it seemed to be a great success. So we're just beginning to kind of gather again to plan for this year's with a slightly broader.
As we get closer, it'll be the end of March, the last Thursday, let's talk. And we can
Yeah.
Figure out who.
Can we also, for June, can we designate that one for Pride? June's Pride Month.
Yeah, love that. Let's do that. In fact, we should work up to that for other things too.
Oh, and Wendy's gonna come.
Wendy, yeah.
We, both, Joanne and I couldn't hear what, the celebration that, was mentioned for the March 18th to 24.
It's called Neurodiversity Celebration Week. When
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Neurodiversities.
Joe, is somebody looking at the chat?
So. I guess I'm not, now I am.
We do 4 things at once.
Oh, I think that I think we have to. Okay. Thanks, Wendy.
Because I don't.
So, just going out of order, Wendy, you want us to change the minutes related to the Holocaust Remembrance Day to January, make them more specific, that your point early on in the chat? We'll do that.
It's kind of a question to make sure it's supposed to be a day and not really a month.
Today, the Remembrance Day is the 27th of January, and there's actually a month for education, and Magali is.
Okay, got it. Okay.
All right, why don't we move on to the school DEI committee meeting? We talked a little bit about that earlier, but I wanted to thank everybody who participates on that. And I know that we had a meeting of a small group, Cynthia. Who else was in the we talked about equity.
Oh, yes, yeah, I was.
Definition.
We worked on definition of
Yes, I was
equity,
there.
which we contributed a few of them to Madonna, and I know you guys talked about that. Am I right?
So Magali had a fabulous exercise planned on last Thursday, and she had us using actually a virtual kind of a post-it note system whiteboard, but we had pen and paper too. And really kind of just wanted a brainstorming of what did everybody think when they thought of the word diversity, equity, inclusion, and no, not belonging, those 3. And so what Magali is doing right now is she's kind of saved that, and she's kind of mulling it over and trying to compile it into something a little bit more coherent. But actually what was really interesting was Brian Rourke reached out to myself, Magali, and Chris Chu afterwards, saying, he really enjoyed the meeting and it got his brain thinking that way. And he was thinking that we should also try and create like a snapshot of really like a short, simple kind of phrase, sentence that kind of encapsulates everything so that people can kind of refer to it easily. And so nothing is, I don't have anything today in terms of Magali, she hasn't sent me the slides yet, but I know what Brian was kind of throwing around and suggesting was his idea of diversity meaning awareness of all, equity meaning planning for all, inclusion encompassing of all, and belonging meaning all feel valued. And we kind of spoke about this. This came after our meeting on Thursday. So myself, Magali, and Dr. Chu spoke a little bit about this, kind of liking where he was going with it. So Magali is taking all that information and is kind of going to come back with something for us, which I will share with you guys as soon as I have that.
And will it be taken up at the next what was movie committee?
it should, so. Following on then from that conversation, we've kind of now restructured how the school DEI works. So we won't be meeting as a big group again until January, because we don't typically meet in December. And we've broken up into 3 groups. A group who's working on equity audit, a group who's working on policy and student handbooks. And the 3rd group is going to be working on professional development and kind of staff resources. So we're asking that those 3 groups meet separately over the next kind of month or 2 to kind of just start the process of coming together, making a plan, an action plan, and moving forward. Madonna, you hadn't had the opportunity yet to be assigned or sign up for one of them.
So they assigned you, Madonna.
So we were thinking, and I actually think it makes sense. So Mary Claire, I know you're looking at on the policy student handbooks group, but we were actually thinking it would be lovely if you joined the equity audit group, because we thought it would be Madonna. We thought it would be really beneficial to have, like, the fact that we have to kind of spread out the town DEI voice across our 3 teams. So we kind of thought actually it could be a nice place for you if you're interested. You don't have to.
I keep getting everything from town too. It's kind of really strange all of a sudden.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I'd like to do that.
Yeah,
It's a good group.
yeah, and I thought we just kind of thought it would make sense, seeing as with Mary Claire working on policy side of it, that also, because I know with the town DEI, and especially doing an equity audit, there's a bit more scope for town involvement, so we felt it was a good place for me to be. Thanks for that. So those 3 groups are going to start working away, and I will be emailing very soon Mary Claire to kind of get us up and running. But the other thing is that we're also having each school set up a school-based DEI team. And this is going to have obviously all the principals, some more staff members, and also to look for more parent community members involvement. And the idea being that really to truly embed DEI work within our school community and families, it really has to be based out of the schools rather than a district-wide DEI committee. And so that we kind of see it as the work we're doing on the top is connected to the school-based teams, and it filters up and down. Now, not everyone on the school-based teams will join the district-wide meetings. It's only going to be typically the 2 or 3 people, representatives from each school that we currently have. And so the first task that these schools are being asked to is A, form a group, and B, carry out a survey amongst staff specifically on what they're looking for in terms of professional development, their experience of DEI issues within the school. Do they understand it? Do they have a trusted staff member in the school that they can go to for guidance on this? So really to try and give us a wider picture of what's happening in the district in terms of staff feeling, but then also to give each school some tangible information, because you know what's happening at WA might be very different to what's happening at NAB. So that's kind of where we're trying. It's a new approach, so bear with us while we figure it out.
We have students on the WA one.
The WA one is going to have students in. And so yeah, it's kind of going to be an exciting year as we kind of figure it out. I mean, you know, DEI is such a beast of a thing to wrangle, so we're trying to make it as efficient and action oriented as possible. So
Well, thank you for the report. Madonna, did you want to add anything?
This is the first I'm hearing about it, Hal.
In this part, okay.
I like the idea. I just wanted to comment because in my prior organization, they went localized to each site where the offices were, so that they could really bring in the DEI and then they called them as DEI champions, and that is how they cascaded their messages or events or initiatives. It was very successful model.
Yeah.
And I have seen organizations basically struggling to really work through the DEI because they don't have a solid representation or volunteers to run with it. But any company that can run in like small segments and can be deep-rooted, it can be very successful. So I really like the idea and the approach that you're talking about.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So our DEI reps will be on the subgroups,
Yep.
but also join the bigger group as well.
Yeah, so basically the idea is that on the months when the big group isn't meeting, the subgroups will meet. And then when we say we'll all come together in January, we'll kind of discuss where all of the subgroups are and also connect in with the school-based teams as well. So, the idea is trying to be as efficient as possible with people's time.
That sounds really good.
Material.
We'll make sure. All right, anything else on that topic? The next two are probably going to be fairly quick. The video interview with the police chief.
I don't think that has happened because I was supposed to do it with Nancy and police chief, and it looks like his calendar was very busy. And maybe Nancy was busy as well, right, in this international block party. So most likely it will happen in the next couple of weeks and we'll come back with that.
That's right, actually, that's what Nancy told me, so thank you. The next item, DEI ambassadors. This was generated last time. I think that well, it was my idea. I think it's a good idea. But I think we need a little, I need to work with somebody on how that plays out, and maybe the work of defining, for example, DEI and belonging can help with that. The idea is that we would create a committee like the Affordable Housing Committee and go there and help them to sort of use the DEI lens in their work. But I think we would need a little more defined guidelines that would be able to help that.
Yeah.
But I think, everybody likes their own opinion, so I'm fond of this one, but, and I do think it's workable, but we'll work on it a little bit more.
Can I just take 1 minute? I know we are kind of behind the schedule. Scott, as my understanding goes, you are involved with certain boards within the town or certain committees within the town, or housing committee or something like that? No? Okay, maybe, I don't want it to be like a volunteer, but is there something that you could partner with Joe on this initiative of?
Well, I think when
committee
we first started, when we were working in the employment aspect.
Yeah.
We suggested that DEI become involved in some of the interviewing and for new people, and as a matter of fact, I attended one of the interviews. And then we couldn't get any further with Jody and that. So I'm not blaming it on Jody. There was so much going on that she couldn't figure out a way to have a non-committee member, non-staff member attend something that was that you couldn't talk about. There was a executive, I don't know which one, how you want to refer to it as, a private thing where people's we're talking about their resume and stuff like that, and also all the people want to announce, but I found that very helpful. I think there were obvious DEI topics that came up during the interviews. I was going to report back to can't remember her name, the woman that's in charge of HR.
Pam Hicks. Pam Hicks.
Pam Hicks. And but the issues that I ran into were with people that didn't choose. So it didn't. And but I think that kind of ambassador has more effect than just attending meetings and watching what they're doing.
Would you, I mean, I'd be happy to work with you, we can sort of,
I'll talk to you about it. I'm sure, if you want to pursue, I'll talk to you about what we can do. And I would like to have a little more meaningful
than just visiting the committee, right? There's gonna be more to it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree.
Is there another lens that you look at this? I like the idea of, the idea of ambassadors, but I also don't think it's a good, use of time to just have extra people going to extra meetings.
Right.
And one of the
Right,
things is, Scott and Joe, you both came to the school committee last year and you were a point on our agenda and you spoke about a specific topic. And we had a really good conversation that night. And so would you consider it more of, okay, we want to get on these agendas so they're more kind of one-off or kind of specific to that group, kind of a presentation, have a conversation, and that you kind of open the conversation of, for these are the things we can help with, or these are the issues. So, because I think it's really helpful to kind of, have it more in that formal presentation so that the conversation isn't just, Scott watching the meeting, but that you have all committee meeting members.
I think certainly
the same thing.
introducing ourselves and introducing
Yeah.
the DEI, and if there's a specific initiative like you had, or
Yeah.
you, or there's something on the agenda. Andrew.
I'm just thinking, following up on what you said, we're gonna be hiring a new town clerk, because our town clerk is retiring at the end of the year. And I'm thinking, following up on being involved in the hiring process and the interviewing process, I think having a member of this committee involved in the hiring of our new town clerk, personally, I think that would be very helpful, and I think that we should, approach Kristen about that, and having, when the committee is formed, to screen applicant. I mean, maybe we don't have to be involved in sort of the first screening or whatever, but certainly when the committee is interviewing, that was something. The finalists, that somebody from this committee should be on the interview committee.
That's how we run the school committee ones, so, or the school district ones. Yeah, so we don't have, we're not involved in the screening.
Right.
But we come together to literally we meet the week of the interviews. We have one meeting where we just get the data, the information, the resumes. We have a conversation as a group of what are the types of questions we want to ask. And we would always typically carry, we were on one together, where we talk about, this is confidential, you don't share the resumes, we actually hand back the folders at the end of the week, and with the resumes and everything intact, so Carrie would used to make sure that they were disposed of appropriately, and we're just asked not to share that information.
Who we reach out to related to the process for the town clerk.
I can reach out to Kristen and see where we are, and I believe that we've advertised.
Okay.
In fact, I'm sure we've advertised. In fact, I'm sure
hope
we've
so.
advertised.
You hope.
But I don't know where we are in the process, and I can certainly reach out to her and find out. But I just think having,
There's an opportunity for us. Yeah.
our new town clerk, needs to be able to operate with a lens of diversity.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Andrew, when you say the end of the year, do you mean the end of the fiscal year or the end of the
No.
calendar year?
And the calendar year.
Oh,
December.
Oh, so like in.
31st
Yeah,
December.
Okay.
yeah, like,
So just to that, since you're talking about ambassador, so I do serve on the Westford Cultural Council. So it would be useful what you were talking about to have some kind of definition of what we're looking for when we are going. So obviously in all our discussions and deliberations, we try and as much as possible to keep the DEI lens on, and I contribute whenever I can, but it's in a formal manner. It's not, I'm not officially representing the DEI committee or anything. But that would be very useful if it did that for whoever was representing, if they happen to be serving anyways on another committee.
Right.
So that would be very helpful.
I just want to add there that when we say that we can help a committee to have a DEI lens, unless we understand their business and ins and out, we can't be an expert to give any guidance to them from a DEI lens. We could be DEI expert, but we just don't know their spaces and their areas. So for that matter, it may require all of us, whoever is attending, to attend the meeting first, understand their functions, how do they operate, what their needs are, and then bring the DEI lens and then provide them the guidance. So that's how I would see Scott on what you can bring to the table. We probably would require spending some time where we probably are not gonna be very helpful in the beginning. Because we are going to try to understand what exactly happens, what are they doing exactly, right, in the community, and then help them out.
Well, you and I were both,
We were,
working on that at that time, and we were gonna come up with some questions and,
I believe we
We
did come up
did.
some questions, and I know that it was used in
we used it
in
in
the
the
hiring of the, at least, the study group.
It was the principals.
Principal, yes.
Yeah,
principal.
it was.
well, this
for
was
both
a
the,
assessment.
Middle and elementary.
yeah.
And it happened during the day, so it sort of fell on my shoulders and, because you weren't available, but, you have much more experience than I did, but even with the little experience that I had, I could see that some of the answers to the questions, the way they talked about different groups was blatantly, I mean, that doesn't mean that they were unqualified for the other work that they do.
Exactly.
I mean, I have no idea what the assessor does or whatever, you know, I mean, I think I have a general idea, but, I couldn't look at their qualifications and tell whether the qualifications were right. But I could tell when they answered a question, whether it seemed like they were obviously, but I think that everyone on the interview also. felt
Also
that.
kind of.
So I think our next steps, we'll find out about how we can contribute to the hiring of the town clerk. Scott and I will get together and maybe take a look at the town committees, map it out here. But your admonition related to, getting to know the committee, yours related to specific initiatives. One coming from us or coming from the committee, all that I think will play a role, and we can define this further, along with, of course, bringing them sort of set of guidelines.
Yeah, I think guidelines might be helpful.
You're right. All right. So we're past time. We have, let's see, we're at the 8:05 item. It's regarding Columbus Day, and Cynthia, your call, if you want to do this now, or if you want to do it next time.
I would be happy to do it next time if people are, and I,
Put
actually
you higher up on the agenda.
put me number one.
You're gonna have a minute.
No, but we could talk a little bit too on when we meet with the multicultural calendar. I can talk a little bit to the group as far as Columbus and the relationship to the Italians. And so that I might be able to express a little bit more there.
Sure.
And maybe not take up as much time, or kind of put it in a nutshell about that meeting and then move on.
Yep, I could help you. with
But that wouldn't take the place of us having a conversation here, right?
No, it wouldn't.
No, but, no.
I think it
And
gives
you know
Cynthia
what,
a
I
chance
can,
to treat it.
like these notes I have in a, I don't have one of those, mass.gov emails yet. I'll probably have it in the next couple of days, and I could just put something out on that, like a PDF or something, you know, just
Information.
notes.
Yeah.
So that you could read them
For the next time, for the next meeting, I mean, like a pre-read before the meeting, for the next
before the
time?
meeting,
Yeah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Cynthia, do you mind? I just glanced at it. I just noted, you were saying about the school committee including Columbus Day on the school calendar, just for your knowledge. It only goes on the school calendar if it's a day off. And it's based on what the town official wording is. So currently, right now, it's Indigenous Peoples' Day in Westford, so that's what we reflect on the calendar. And that's kind of our policy on whatever is official to the town is official in terms of days off. So we won't put all cultural holidays on our school calendar because it's already chock-a-block with parents, teacher conferences and half days here and there for professional development. So unless it's a day off, it doesn't go on the calendar. And if it is a day off, it is whatever the official recognition holiday is within Westford.
Yeah, I have some comments about that, but maybe
Yeah.
I'll leave them for.
No,
next
I'm just
time.
saying, so you know what our official policy
Yeah,
is
yeah.
right now on it. We'd have to change the policy in order to do what kind of you're asking. So it will be a bigger conversation again.
Okay,
Yeah, just so you know.
yeah, all right,
So
thank you.
Cynthia, you're welcome to treat this with the committee, and then if you wanted to send something either through us or you suggesting directly to the committee. You suggesting sending a version of this to the committee, is that what you were saying? If you've got, once you've got your Westford email, is that what you were saying?
Right, like when we're gonna meet on Monday, you know, I could always just kind of sum it up and send it out. Right?
You could, or you could send it to Andre and I, we could.
Yeah.
do that for you.
Yeah.
But,
So I think I'd like to see this as a motion rather than
The what?
a motion for the committee to vote on.
So let's do
But
one
I
thing.
think if we're gonna do that, we have to have, like, I have information that's completely counter to what you have here. And it's cited. So I feel like we have to have a conversation.
Yep.
Yeah,
So,
no, I
you
know
know,
that's
one of-
true.
one of
I mean,
the
we
things-
just had this conversation for 3 years, and I don't think I would want to come to a meeting where we have this conversation all over again, because we have heard both sides of it, and we've heard all of this, and I understand that you're new to the committee, but we've been discussing this for 3 years. And it's a little tiring, the vote's been taken, it's over as far as.
And I have a contra to that, and I think I put it in this, in that you might have spent that time. But during that time, number one, there was a town vote, we make the effort to go to the town meeting. We voted, it got rejected.
And then
Then
it
the
got referred to
town,
here.
then the town did a survey, and 62% of the people said rejected it again.
No, but that was a
And
very
then there
flawed
was a
survey. I
speakers
mean, the
meeting.
survey can't be counted for anything because it was a flawed survey that with people multiple voting and all sorts of things. It was just not,
Yeah, there was no integrity to that data.
no
at all.
integrity, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's the
that
right
could
word.
not be considered.
Anyway, I agree that it did not pass at the town meeting and that it got referred to this committee for future consideration. We referred it to the after talking about it and really hearing everyone for 2.5 years, and then referred it to the select board. The select board put it on as a town meeting vote. And the town
No, it's a
meeting
ballot.
voted
It's a ballot.
the ballot vote, right?
Not done.
The ballot
I
vote.
guess my point is, though, you spent all that time talking about it. It obviously is a controversy, and it's obviously a division in the town. And given that, I don't really think that 15 votes says the whole town wants to do that. And something that has been history, I grew up with that. It goes back to, 1492. It goes back to 1892, when Chicago had this huge 700 acres celebrating what Columbus had brought in bringing to the New World, and how we became prosperous because of it. So we just say, okay, we're gonna throw that out and pretend it doesn't exist, when there's a whole, all right, the people that voted, there was only 10% of the voters, if that. It's not a representation of the full town, and I really, I don't even know if it's really split. It might even be more that people, I heard from.
I think it's just like the vote last night.
Exactly. I was
Just like the vote last night,
No,
I think there are more people in town that wanted the bylaw, but the way the vote was.
I think it's,
we have to go by the vote.
Difference though, was it?
Cynthia, I just made this, I think, it's problematic to sort of go back to the vote.
But we did it
Because
so
with
many
us-
times till you got what,
Well, in this, in this city, in this state, it's first past the post most of the time. It's hard to know how it would have turned out if there were more people who had voted. I think what we're looking at right now is, you're a member of the committee. you've got every right to offer something that you want to talk to us about. Right? I think what we're talking about now is that how we consider it. And the idea on the table is that you'll treat it with a subcommittee. And then you can bring it back to this group. Scott's point is that it's better if it's in form of a motion. Right? Seconded, if seconded, and then discussion. I think that's your main point. Right. I don't know if it's valuable to sort of relitigate or relive history at this stage. Andrea, we were gonna say. I stopped you.
I think if you did, whatever I was going to say is now done.
Anyway,
Apologize.
anyway.
I apologize.
So just coming back to the discussion is, we are thinking about putting this on the agenda to give you the platform, Cynthia, to talk about what you want to talk about as a member of the committee. So rather than talking about it right now, can we put it off for the agenda next time and then come back to approving the minutes, and then we can call off the night and everybody can go home, eat, sleep, whatever you want to do, right? Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say one thing. I just think that, it would be good for us as a committee to be inclusive, to make sure that that everyone feels good about what happened, right? Because, you were even saying in the podcast, Joanne was saying, it's terrible when you don't feel listened to. And so that's all I'm saying is, let's see if we can do something to bring the community together on this, because that's what we're about, right? We're about inclusivity. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why when Cynthia is saying, I want to talk about the topic, we included that in the agenda, right? Okay.
All right, Cynthia, you okay with that? For next
Yeah,
time?
yeah, that's fine, thank you.
Very good. Let's move on to the minutes. In your packets, there doesn't have the word draft on them, but it says September 27th at the top.
Yeah.
And the information is, or the notes themselves, are minutes headlined by agenda item. Any changes?
My last name is misspelled.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's fine. I think at the back, I saw, again, I think it's a typing error, and then you'll fix the formatting, obviously.
Yeah.
Yep, format.
Yeah, and so that's it. I think Ankit's name, the T is missing, so.
Okay.
Somewhere.
Okay.
Can't find it. Other than that, it looks fine.
Anything else?
Did we approve some kind of meeting minutes, August meeting
Yeah,
minutes last
August,
month?
those are done, no?
And they are posted
emailed-
as well?
I emailed you, I emailed the board. Yes, it's all
Yeah.
done, that's done.
I don't remember anything right now. Okay, so that's perfect.
Right, any other additions, changes?
Nothing that I see here.
I mean, you said it's very succinct, but I actually like this format, which has just the right information that we really need, and it's not too detailed. It's easier to put together, so thank you for doing that. If nobody has any more corrections, then can we just approve these?
Indeed, and Wendy will get you in a
Wendy.
second, my apologies. Did you have something about the minutes or something else?
No, backtracking to Cynthia. I put it in the chat.
Do the minutes first.
Okay,
Any other changes? No. Do I have a motion to accept that? Yeah. Scott,
Second.
unless we have to do a roll.
You have to
call.
roll call.
Yeah.
All right, let's do that. Andrea,
I'm abstaining, it was you.
actually. have to do that. Catherine did that.
I don't.
Hi.
Did Cynthia abstain? I missed that.
I abstained. you-
Andrea, that's Andrea, because she wasn't here last meeting.
Andrea, sorry. Yeah, okay. That's what I meant. Okay, sorry.
And Catherine is because you know. additional-
Non-voting.
Seema said
Seema.
I, yeah.
Said I, Scott. Aye. Said
Aye.
And Claire.
Aye.
And Cynthia and Andrea and Joe, right, so it's unanimous.
We need
Wendy-
people on
Oh,
Zoom.
sorry about that,
Yeah.
not quite unanimous.
I,
Andy, Joanne?
I was also not in attendance.
And Heine,
Aye.
thank you. Two abstentions are Joanne and.
So the view, somebody is,
Alright. Right, so the last item is just, we'll be seeing each other again on November, do I get that date right, November 30, is that right? Or is it-
Yeah.
It's November 29th. Sorry about
sorry, what?
It is November 29th, yes.
29th, okay. December 29th, will be our next meeting. Okay,
Also,
Wendy,
could you read what Cynthia, I think she wanted you to go back and read.
I was just about
I
to say,
can
just so
answer.
you know, with meetings as well, we've actually disabled the chat in public meetings because it's not necessarily in accordance with open meeting law, so because if we don't have the computer, we can't see the comments.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
just for future reference, might be easier.
do that next time.
Yeah.
So in the spirit of that, Wendy, could you tell us what you wrote?
sure. Just requested that, if Cynthia is bringing forward historical facts, that she's going to be relying upon for her, issue, or comments, if those could be provided in advance to give us time to fact check things.
Sure, you're open to that.
Yeah, I can do that. I don't know where you're gonna do your fact checking, Mel, because.
Well, I've just heard the town is divided. That's, there is a minority that is divided, like 11% of the town is at at odds, but not, it's important verbiage to be careful of, to not say the town is divided when you're talking about 11.8% who voted on that ballot initiative.
Fair point.
Okay, my personal feedback, maybe I hang out with different people.
Well, there's anecdotal information.
Should I do a
certainly.
town survey of
No, but I think it's,
18,000 people? I don't know.
you gotta appreciate.
Let me know.
Let me know who's gonna answer. Is everybody gonna answer? I might get that.
Well, you get-
I might
Help
get more
people
than
that
that.
want-
sure.
Yeah.
you get
There are only 280.
But Wendy, to your question though, if I bring up the specific things, I will reference what I can.
And we'll get information out in advance. That's all right. So
Motion to
our
adjourn.
next
Second.
deadline was 9 o'clock. So let's, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Yes.
I did.
You got to see my
The, what, our parliamentary procedure, do we vote on a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
We do. All right,
Yes,
we have to
It
do
can
a
be
roll.
verbally though, right?
you can just do it
All
verbally.
right,
Okay, motion.
Aye.
Aye.
you guys, all right, thank you very much.
The ayes have it.
We'll see you and-
But 20.
Everyone, bye, Wendy.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.